This video is part of the SuperSmall Expert Spotlight, recorded live at AI House on December 18th. In this workshop, SuperSmall co-founder David Niu focuses on one of the most critical stages of building a business, turning a validated idea into real revenue through effective pricing, packaging, and sales. In this section, we focus on sales and the BANT methodology, a simple framework that helps founders qualify opportunities and focus their energy on conversations that are most likely to convert.
All right, so there are so many different methodologies when it comes to sales. The one that I like is called BANT, right? And the reason why BANT is so good is it looks for four simple things, right? And this is primarily used for consultative sales, which were about half the room. So the B is budget. You know, can they afford it? Do they set that aside? And this is usually for, bigger organizations who are, thinking about like, oh, I got a budget for finance application. I need a budget for, my EMR application or something. So that's what the B stands for in BANT. The A stands for authority. So I always like to know who is the decision maker. And I don't like to really talk to other people who aren't the decision maker because can they say yes? No. But what can they say? No, right? So you always want to try to figure out who that decision maker. Smaller companies, it's usually the CEO or one of the executives. Bigger companies, it's very lattice, and so it's a little bit harder. So you have to do your homework, go to LinkedIn and do some stalking. The N is need. Why are they talking to you? Why do they need this? Why is check-in a pain? Well, right now it's hard to find people, and it's also a better experience. Like, would I rather talk to someone or check in on a kiosk? I don't know. Maybe I'd rather check in on a kiosk or schedule my own time versus the receptionist asking me. I'm fumbling with my phone. So there are good reasons why people would want to reach out to you or be interested in your solution. And then T is timing, right? One of my favorite questions I like to ask when I'm doing consultative sales is like, hey, Davis, you said that this is really important to you. Is this a 2025 initiative or 2026? Right now we're at the end of the year, but I loved saying that earlier in the year. Is this a 2025 or 2026? Right? They're like, well, no. It's important. It's 2025, right? So when I do consultative sales, I like to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit pushy in a good way because I just want to be efficient with their time and my time, right? So usually I tell my sales reps, if you don't have these four things, you will rarely close a consultative sales. And if you have two or three and you put out a proposal, I call it pre-proposalization. You're doing it way too soon. Slow down and take the time to do this. And now a lot of days there's other ways, that there's a lot of freemium that kind of come through the back door, like someone uses the free ChatGPT and it comes through the back door. So there's other ways, but this is for your traditional kind of your methodology when it comes to consultative sales. Now I think about, well, what is the hardest of these and what is the easiest? So this is a way of you thinking about how you will do your mock calls a little bit later. The N is need, is, hey, why are we talking? Why did you schedule a meeting with me? Right? It's very open-ended. You're putting the ball in their court, right? No one wants to be sold. They all want to buy. So you just ask them, why are we having this conversation? Why did you schedule the meeting? T is timing. How urgent is this? I mean, you schedule this meeting, it's December, 18th? Is this something that you want to do by the end of the year? Is this a Q1 initiative or this just discovery for, later in 2026, right? So I always like to ask that question. So that's an easy one. The A then is authority. Are you the decision maker? The last time your company bought a similar offering, can you walk me through the buying process and who made the decision, right? These are things that we need to know because you want to get to the person who says yes. Sometimes there's a lot of influencers, especially at bigger companies, but you want to know who's ultimately going to have that final say. Now, the last one is budget. This is a little tricky, right? Because it's not just asking people, do you have a budget? This is about going through and understanding, it's more around ROI. If you make this investment or you don't make this investment, what happens to your company's performance and financials? So these are all the things that you will want to know, and then I know people are taking notes, and feel free to, but we'll put all these slides in that FS3 community, and I'll send out all the granola notes afterwards as well. But this is how usually a lot of these calls will go, right? When you get a lead and you're talking to people, you've already validated demand, and you're starting to generate more demand and working on your packaging and pricing. If you have consultative sales, this is the process. Or even if you have something like this, good, better, best, it might be contact us if you have more than if you have more than like one state, or if you have more than X amount of doctors, right? And you want something very bespoke, right? So that is when you'll have this like, hey, why does our current solution not work? Tell me more about why you need something customized.